What am I thinking of?
Fake fans, that's, you guys know, I think, what I feel about that type of thing. It's literally, I reject the premise.
I'll give you him a little bit of credit. I kind of like the animation, the anime style opening there.
I do too. I don't like the sound quality, the audio quality of that song though. I don't know if you can get that improved somehow. I don't know where you got the song, but it sounds like crap. Like just the quality of it. The song's cool. It's fine. Oh look, he's got his mask off. He went mask off.
Now I think it's worth noting for this is the quality of this video is it'll be clips of us intermixed with just this still image of him. So
wow.
The cool animation at the beginning, that's where the cool animation ends.
Dude, just some guy, even if you don't want to respond to anything else, can you tell us how we can grow as a channel even without doing the bare minimum amount of editing and stuff? Can you help us with that? Because I'm swamped right now, dude. I got so much shit I gotta edit.
Yeah.
All right.
Make response videos often, but when I do, it's because someone says something that's so incredibly revealing and stupid, I can't help but respond. Enter actual fandom. This is a guy who's part of a group who spends their time critiquing entertainment critics. Basically, imagine
No, we don't. We really don't. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't talk about entertainment critics. We talk about, people what these guys generally that we talk about do is not criticism. It's just not,
really?
Man. Like in a lot of cases.
You don't think it's criticism when you're doing a Secret Invasion review and you spend the first 3 minutes lying about Disney and not talk about Secret Invasion?
Do with the political fight they got into Florida, going against the family when you're a family brand, losing 4 million subscribers on D+ in the second quarter, losing almost.
Okay, so you might also notice that so far he hasn't mentioned anything about the actual quality of Secret fucking Invasion in his Secret fucking Invasion video.
Wait, who is Jordan Rumi?
World of Real.
What?
World of Real is the name of it. So he is a Tomato Meter approved critic and has covered International Film Festival. This is just his own writing about himself, as you can tell.
That's not an analyst. That's a film critic. Shit is just
so two facts I just found really fast on Jordan Rumi. There is a call to ban his links, and they're saying that he has defended Roman Polanski, and that he just makes shit up apparently. So yeah.
Great source.
Awesome. It's almost like he's a grifter or some shit.
Yeah.
Right. No, I kind of don't think that. No, I don't think that this is criticism either. Well, let's see what they say about the Marvels. I'm sure it's very nuanced and
yeah.
For sure.
Well, Marvel's trailer dropped just a couple of days ago. I don't know about you guys, but I am really excited about that movie. I can't wait to see it in November. Yeah. I think it's going to be quite the experience.
I like that people make memes about does anyone even know who Miss Marvel is from a show or the? See, I'm already struggling. The girl from WandaVision, and it's like, dude, who knows who Captain Marvel is?
Monica Rambeau.
Who knows who Captain Marvel is?
Yeah, you can complain about the characters or criticize the characters all you want, but the fact that you guys make so many videos about these characters, you just can't do the whole no one cares, right? Who even knows who these people are?
Yeah.
You fucking do. That's why you're talking about it.
Way more power and influence over these people. They just don't want you to think that you do because they know that you're going to consume if they give you what you think you want. Yep. They're going to gaslight you as much as they can 100%. To tell you this is important to you. And Hayden Christensen is so important to you. Disney don't give a fuck about Hayden Christensen, but they know that you do. So that's why he's back in Star Wars. It would be cheaper for them to not hire him and hire some fucking guy to wear the costume.
The couple just so happens to walk into a room with a bed or a couch.
Oh yeah,
that's how this is with black characters. Like every room they fucking walk in, just happens to be a racist cop, ready to put a knee on their neck or some shit. It's like they're treating.
They can die of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason people in the West are starting to draw more and more towards, Korean or Japanese filmmaking. It's precisely because it's a bit different from what we get. And that's a good
What?
thing.
Yeah, what is the most recent Japanese film or at least entertainment that you enjoyed so far? If you remember any.
What am I thinking of? See, a lot of them would be older ones, like Old Boy, for example.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one. I know it's not Japanese, but yeah, probably stuff like that. You know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I really like that. I know it's like Chinese, I think. But yeah, like it's
Look, every once in a while, a critical drinker, you know, maybe Maul or EFAP, who can has the time to watch their shit. I mention how long it is. Long man bad. Long man bad. You know, they might have something that, that is like technically a form of criticism that's not even like controversial or anything. I'm sure they do. But like when the broad strokes of what they're doing is approaching things from this perspective of like political or not political or woke, you know, or not woke or whatever. And it's like, these are really fucking like nebulous terms that we've talked about plenty of times. Simply put, too woke equals prioritizing diversity, including race, gender, sexual preference, identity, over quality of the product. Okay, so there's quality, which, you know, is not an objective thing, guys. I'm sorry. Including TV, books, product, marketing, movies, etc. But this is where it gets cool. It's funny. I consider Arcane and The Boys as woke, and they are freaking amazing. So woke is not bad. Not inherently bad.
Okay.
So therefore, using it as a criticism means nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and I know if you're so deep in the sauce, you've been making this content for a long time, it probably sound insane to you to say that. Like, you know, like old Jim the Casual, right? Like, what do you mean you don't believe it's the real thing? You know, you're algorithmically programmed to think of these things this way.
He claims to be a centrist throughout this video. He's a centrist. But again, through his language, it's like everything is justifying what the right's doing and criticizing what the left's doing.
So it seems like these centrists that are just like, I'm a centrist, you know, and apparently this guy's lived in like the Chicago area his whole life and stuff. And it's like, so yeah, you know, I can understand you might not be in any, you know, veered toward any left or right at any extreme direction or whatever. But like, just because you kind of look at the left and go, that's crazy, and then go look at the right and go, that's crazy, that doesn't mean you're in the center, if that makes sense.
No.
It's like, because for one thing, the left, like the left is not accurately or even equally represented in mainstream media as the right. The liberals are, you know, like, you know, kind of like Democrat liberals, which is basically just barely to the left of center, you know. But then like the far right is like what was just in power in, you know, the executive branch, and it also has, you know, people in power, you know, in the Senate, and you know, it's really fucking weighted in terms of representation, so to speak, that the crazy far right people, they're actually fucking getting lots of stage time. They're getting lots of, you know, and then to think that just having, I don't know, black characters, women, or what, you know, I don't want to like misrepresent. I'm not saying he's saying any of this, but like generally we're talking about the people that we criticize, that having some of those, one of those in a movie, because historically they maybe weren't prioritized in casting or in writing or whatever like that, that's a political thing. But it's just weird, man. Like, it's just this idea of what political means that's totally been defined by fucking YouTube culture.
Yeah.
And prior to that, it wasn't thought of this way. You know what I mean? Like, and you're perpetuating a thing that you fucking just were kind of like, I don't know how long he's been around. It seems like he's been around a while. He might have helped build this culture, for all I know.
Possibly.
Geeks and Gamers or Friday Night Tights crew, but remove any hint of charisma. Now, I don't have a problem with anybody critiquing critics. I think it's fair to call people out if you think they're making bad arguments. However, when you do that, you shouldn't do the thing you accuse others of doing. Kind of makes you look like a hypocrite. And boy, do these guys make themselves look like hypocrites. The premise of their video is that there are people who claim to be fans of various franchises and mediums, but only have negative things to say about the things they claim they love. They call these people anti-fans. Yeah. Since nobody knows what the hell that word means, they made a video explaining the term. And you know, it'd be real unfortunate and ironic if everything they say, every criticism they make, also applied to them. Because that's exactly what happens. It begins with actual fandom.
I wanted to see if you guys would mind, you know, each of us kind of just giving our thoughts on what it's weird. I feel like I remember this wasn't too long ago. I remember pretty much what was said, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe having a psychotic break or something, and I'm
it
not
doesn't
remembering.
seem like we say anything that out there, but apparently he got triggered. That's a little suspicious.
You know, I just think it's notable that like just some guy. I know that you have 200,000 subscribers, and that feels like you are on top of the world. Probably, you know, I would if I was you. But like, if you ever step outside of, you know, kind of like your audience, and even just like the broader, you know, we hate woke things audience, right? There are a lot of people who are sick of your type of content, man. Like,
yes.
And you have to realize you have been doing it for a long time. We can look at your channel in a minute, but like, it's just kind of the same shit over and over again. And in some cases, like I said, you do seem a little bit more sincere, just at first glance anyway, than a lot of the guys that we talk about, right? Like some of the guys that we talk about, Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, these guys are cynical as fuck. They don't fucking believe in anything they're saying. Maybe they did at one point, but at this point, they're just like going through the motions for paycheck, I think. You know, but like a lot of people are sick of it. And, you know, yeah, you get a lot of comments and subscribers and, you know, whatever Patreon or whatever that like is confirming that what you're doing is what people want. But like, it's not what most people want, because if most people agreed with you, these things that have been called woke and political, therefore bad and whatnot, forced pandering and stuff for several freaking years now would not exist. They would have stopped making it already. Like, you have to understand that.
If go woke, go broke was actually an opinion held by the overwhelming majority of the public, then it would actually be true. But it's not. I mean, look at Barbie. It's.
I mean, we can look at the I still have those numbers from that time that we did that rundown of like all the things that went woke, right? That they said we're going to go broke or whatever. I don't know. Who knows how amenable to like new information this guy really is? So I don't want to waste our time. Let's just continue on here. Fan versus an anti-fan is.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. I mean, it's not helpful to use labels that are nothing more than dog whistles for your in-group.
Dog whistles for your in-group.
Yeah, I like that use of the word dog whistles, because I have no idea what dog whistles we're even using here. We're just clearly defining terms.
In politics, a dog whistle is the use of coded or suggestive language in political messaging to garner support from a particular group without provoking opposition. So what about the idea of the concept of anti-fan versus fan would make you think that I'm trying to not provoke opposition? It's literally right there in the words, you know, the two word, the dynamic there. It's comes with the opposition. So
it's almost like he's trying to use loaded language to set the scales against us.
He's trying to, and what's funny is he's kind of like co-opting fucking liberal / left language against us, which that's not the first time we've seen that happen. Interesting.
No.
Interesting.
It'd also be a good idea if you didn't use dog whistles in the first place. Especially,
we're not using dog whistles, man. Like, no, dude. Yeah. Now, all right. Gonna try and keep myself chill here, but like, maybe you're not doing it on purpose. Maybe you don't realize that what you just said is stupid as fuck.
Especially if you're going to turn around and complain about somebody else doing the same thing, like this.
Because, you know, it's something I really want to try to do regularly, where like we kind of break down the terms that we use, because it's kind of the opposite of what the right does, right? Like they just throw words around, and they're you know, hiding all these intentions and you know, their dog whistles and stuff like that. And so I think it's important to kind of do the opposite, right?
By doing the exact same thing. Yes, that makes perfect.
Wait a second, man. Wait a second.
He started
this off saying that it's a good idea we're defining this so that we're not using dog whistles. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Then he goes on to say that we're using dog whistles, just like I said we shouldn't. Like, you are all over the fucking map, dude. We were barely into this video, and you were just all over the fucking place. Nonsensical, incomprehensible points you're making, bro. Like,
I actually kind of love like that. There's the clip of you explaining, hey, there's guys, you know, they use words like woke and all this shit and they slaughter the meaning of words. They don't even mean anything anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down, we're going to clearly define some of the terms we use. And then he's like, Oh, how dare you slur the language by clearly defining your words? It's kind of hilarious.
Dude, hold on. I'm sorry. Look, really, I want to listen to that back, like that first part again, and then so we can.
Ironic. If everything they say, every criticism they make, also applied to them, because that's exactly what happens. It begins with actual fandom.
Wanted to see if you guys would mind, each of us kind of just giving our thoughts on what a fan versus an anti-fan is.
Yeah, that would be a...
No, wait, that's not where I wanted to be here. Sorry.
Arguments. However, when you do that, you shouldn't do the thing you accuse others of doing. Kind of makes you look like a hypocrite. And boy, do these guys make themselves look like hypocrites.
Yeah, if you got kind of fucking brain damage or something, I don't.
The premise of their video is that there are people who claim to be fans of various franchises and mediums, but only have negative things to say about the things they...
Okay, so, all right. So, Fall of X, End of Krakoa, X-Men. Okay. That's a 10-minute video. I'm betting you said positive things about the Krakoan era, right? You got Kamala Khan. You don't like Kamala Khan. It's clear you don't like Kamala Khan. That's fine. Nobody's telling you have to like that character. But you sure do talk about her a lot, right? And then you got God Loves Man Kills here, with a review. I assume that's probably a positive review because, you probably grandfather that in. That's before things were, woke and political or whatever. That was different somehow.
God Loves Man Kills is a famous non-political comic book.
Barbie.
Oh, look, he's gone after Snow White already, based on leaked
Twice.
images.
Leaked images.
Nice.
Yes. So clearly you're going to like that movie. You're giving it a fair shot. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna react to it, before anything really. You actually experience the film itself. You're just gonna kind of, okay. I've heard you're a comics fan and that you actually know a little bit about comics and Lord of the Rings, and that's cool too because a lot of these guys that we could talk about don't know shit about shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. You sure does seem you cover a lot of stuff that you don't like.
Yeah.
People you don't like things that have nothing to do with you. I mean, look, I'll be honest. Some of these thumbnails are slightly better than other chuds. There's several aspects of this guy that are easier to swallow than other chuds. I'll say that.
Well, there's that. It looks like he goes after that Dove soap video game that was canned because nobody cared except these guys.
Well, and that actually brings me to another point is. So I had almost covered him a couple of months ago whenever me and Ryan were doing we're just talking privately, and I happened to look at his channel. It's like, hey, look at this video where he says that Captain Marvel, the comic book, was canceled. Canceled. Captain Marvel gets canceled again. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Did it get canceled? Just some guy? Or did it last 50 issues, which was pretty much what the agreed upon thing was? It was, at least maybe not from the beginning, but at a certain point was decided, you know what, let's just end this run at 50, which is actually really fucking impressive considering these days the cycles for comic book runs go a lot quicker than that. Maybe, but you probably know that, right? You probably know that because you're a fan.
Well, I'm sure it'll be fact-based video.
And Marvel is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one inept series to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version. The first series that was designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime, a triumph equaled only by its monumental failure.
Embrace tradition, reject modernity.
The inevitability of its doom is as apparent now as a consequence of the imperfection inherent in every...
Do you know what he's doing? He's doing the fucking Matrix Reloaded guy.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, the architect.
Yeah, everybody loved that part when that came out. Everybody liked that.
That was the best part, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, thank you for getting right to the point though, man, that you don't like any Captain Marvel series increasingly less as each run happens.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially how you started that off. Good creative use. Look, that's more creative than some anti-fans will do. I'll give them that. But yeah, man, you know that the reason you got so triggered by this it's because we're talking about you, dude. We're literally talking about you. You probably it pisses you off that you're stuck in this silo of content. You have have to make this content.
Yeah.
I would imagine you get some income from this to a degree. Ad just popped up. So
I wonder if that maybe he doesn't want to do this, and maybe just a part of him is just he knows the steps, he knows what he has to say. just to be enough in line. Maybe that's it. And what you see occasionally is kind of the cracks seeping through, where like he just kind of has to make some sort of stance.
See, like, look how many times this dude covered Rings of Power. It's like, okay, but I know that he's a Lord of the Rings fan. So okay, even if I give that one, like, fine, you're mad that this show isn't what you wanted, without getting into the details of why you're mad. You just wasn't what you wanted, right? Like, but you covered it a lot, and then why are you covering a crappy Netflix special on Cleopatra or whatever?
Like, yeah, like I had no interest in that, so I didn't cover it. But it seemed like lots of people who really shouldn't have an interest in it were covering it for kind of an obvious reason.
Look at this. What's up with this? Not even 5-minute Captain Marvel
$1 billion hoodwink.
Was the light bill due? Is that what that was right then? Like, what's up with that?
I don't know.
Can you point to 2 consecutive videos anywhere on your channel that are just you talking about things that you like and why you like them, why you love them, or whatever? Can you do that?
So throughout this video, he kind of acts like he's not really familiar with us. But there's definitely points where it seems kind of clear that he's watched our content. Yeah.
They love. They call these people anti-fans. Since nobody knows what the hell that word means, they made a video.
I actually have a definition for it. We'll continue watching,
There's
but
lots of definitions. But yeah, we define it
Video
here
explaining the term.
Wanted to see if you guys would mind, each of us kind of just giving our thoughts on what a fan versus an anti-fan is.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. I mean, it's not helpful to use labels that are nothing more than dog whistles for your in-group. It'd also be a good idea if you didn't use dog whistles in the first place, especially if you're going to turn around and complain about somebody else doing the same thing, like this.
So he's criticizing us for something that we're literally going out of our way to not do. In a way, even if I agree, that's not a dog whistle in the first place, but like, even if that's what it was, we're
going out of our way to not dog whistle and to explain specifically what we're talking about. That's the video he goes after.
It's something I really want to try to do regularly, where like we kind of break down the terms that we use, because it's kind of the opposite of what the right does, right? Like they just throw words around, and they're hiding all these intentions and their dog whistles and stuff like that. And so I think it's important to kind of do the opposite, right?
By doing the exact same thing. Yes, that makes perfect sense.
What?
This is the irony of people like this crew.
What?
These guys are the type of
No, he's just wild. Like, this is just, he has to misrepresent us because he can't actually tackle any of the points actually being said. Because the entire point we just said is, hey, let's be super clear so everybody knows what we're saying. And he's like, oh, we can't have that. I have to fuck around with their messaging.
I mean, and that's what sad thing is that his devoted audience, even though some of them aren't so devoted anymore, from what I understand, they don't know how to listen and absorb and process information. So even if he does, he's doing it wrong on purpose right now, I guess, or maybe he just doesn't know how, and he's regurgitating what he wants, or telling them what he wants them to think, and they're going to just accept that. Then they go out into the world, and we get them in our comment sections all the time. They're like, you just do the same thing that everybody else does. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Nah.
Now I'm starting to kind of at least get it a little bit. But I do have right here. So a fan is someone who engages with media, film, comics, manga, sports, etc. in a passionate, enthusiastic, generally healthy way. It's balanced, nuanced, right? Fans are often critical of the media they consume. But the criticism is in good faith, it's sincere, and does not criticize through a broad, vague, always negative, cynical, or deceptive lens. Okay? Anti-fans engage with media enthusiastically, which is why they're not non-fans, right? Like a non-fan, it really kind of speaks for itself, man. Do you know what the word anti means, right? It seems like you could kind of suss this out.
A non-fan just doesn't engage.
Right. It's like, I don't care about football, so I don't talk about football, right? But these people clearly care about this stuff, right? Otherwise, they're just grifters. But yeah, they engage enthusiastically, but in a very different and often anti-social way. Because fandom, if you're not aware, anybody that's not aware, fucking bug in here, it is a community. There's the two definitions are, there's fandom as in like how you connect with a thing as an individual. It's like my fandom is blah, blah, blah. But then a fandom, in terms of people, is a community of people, and a community is something that is a social gathering, right? Community is people socializing, working together, finding healthy ways to operate for the betterment, the good of the whole, right? Anti-fans believe that media is overrun by wokeness, which makes anti-fandom an extension of the current right-wing extremist political culture. You can't fucking deny that, man. If you call anything woke, if you're calling shit woke and that's your metric, and I don't know if he does or not, I honestly don't, then you are pushing right-wing shit. That's the entirety of the GOP's platform at this point. So you're not a centrist if you do use that word like that. The claims about media are not the result of critical analysis, but a conclusion made with prejudice that is not supported by coherent or consistent claims. We've debunked them many, many times on our channel. I bet you won't watch those videos, will you? Now that I think about it, I wonder how many videos he watched before he found one he was willing to watch.
Yeah.
Nor definitions for the terms used. They believe myths like get woke, go broke, and SJW/woke pandering is ruining, blah, blah, even when confronted with objective evidence to the contrary. Woke, SJW, bad writing, and other terms are used as thought-terminating cliches for their criticism and framed as objective observations, but when pressed, they typically reveal themselves to be making extremely subjective claims, informed by an overly cynical, superficial, and often bigoted set of nebulous criteria. And hopefully those aren't too many words for you. It's a lot of words, I'll be honest. Anti-fan communities online are the result of YouTube and Facebook's algorithms being based on sensationalist, outrage baiting content, plus the concurrent rise of right-wing extremist ideology in the 2010s and beyond. And you can't, those are just true things, man. Like there's been studies, data studies, there's plenty of evidence of those. So it's really kind of, I don't know, you kind of have to be trying, I think, to not understand the difference. The Dunning-Kruger effect also applies, as many anti-fans do not actually engage with the content, as in read comics or watch movies, but look to their preferred anti-fan YouTubers for their opinions, with those opinions typically being incentivized by the click, engagement, profit motive over any genuine analysis or criticism. So that's what just some guy does, right? Like he's probably responsible for some degree of, some percentage of audience that's just like repeating bullshit that he said, and they didn't even take time to think about the thing that they're talking about.
It does happen occasionally. I just wish we would clearly define this stuff. Maybe we should do a video where we clearly define what we think of as an anti-fan.
Maybe we should, but if we did, then I'm sure that before we got to it, somebody would just say we're dog whistling 50 times.
Yeah.
Dog whistles, dog whistling.
Oh shit.
Oh, now you're dog whistling with that word you used in the definition for the dog whistle.
We're dog whistling about dog whistling, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
we know what that means. Don't question
us. The fact that a dog whistle is intent. The point of a dog whistle is to not be heard, man.
Mm-hmm.
You get that, right? Like, we are over here clearly saying that we think that that there's a difference between what you do and what like actual fandom is. Sorry, I had to do it.
No, I just think it's hilarious. Essentially, all that's going on is like we're like, okay, guys, let's clearly define the terms we're using so that it's clear what we're saying. And then he's like, quit dog whistling. It's like, it's literally not what it is.
Christ on a cracker.
There's special words and labels, many of which have ever-changing definitions, and some of which completely redefine the meaning of words. Let us not forget the whole defund suddenly meaning reform, two words that have never been synonyms.
What?
He does that a lot. He's going to attribute lots of things that we don't talk about in this video and don't talk about in general to that. All of a sudden we're talking about defund and reforming the police, and it's like, when have we ever talked about that? Like, what?
And it's also taking two, like, there were people who wanted to completely defund the police.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there were people who wanted to reform the police, and many of those people on those two camps are diametrically opposed, because and this is what happens whenever you think you understand political culture and you don't. On the left, you've got somewhat, I mean, reform is kind of necessary, honestly. Like it's the bare minimum. But there are people who believe that reform is not enough, right? So like defunding and like literally just kind of like starting from this ground up with a whole new system kind of thing is what some more potentially you might call them radical. I don't know. I don't claim to have the answers there. I'm just telling you what the positions are. To think that at some point somebody tried to say that the definitions had changed. I think that's more talking about how you understood what was being said.
Yeah, there's nuances to the argument, and you're just throwing it under the banner. Because I remember the defund stuff, and it essentially like there was a lot of leftists who kind of went with it because the goal was less to actually defund the police and more just to get everybody to talk about let's reform, let's come to a sensible middle ground.
The main thing was like that I was all for was getting people to think about the budgets that go into these things.
Yes,
and then the budgets plus the types of training that they're getting, or the lack of in some cases. But like when the focus is all on like kill and then weapons and machinery, and like you got small towns that have literal tanks now. That's not the best use of the budget. There should be anyway, that's a whole other video. But
yeah, it's a huge detailed thing, and it has nothing to do with this video he's covering.
And it's just like he's reaching for something vague, like that I know leftists are about. And then there was that one time on Twitter whenever I saw someone say reform, and I said, "Oh, now it's reform, huh?" And that seems like that's what probably happened. He saw somebody say reform after somebody else has been saying defund, and he thought that they were trying to get one by on him.
I'm going to take a wild guess that the language he's talking about is the right calling everything woke. Now, I agree they've abused that term so much that woke basically means anything the right doesn't like. However, the right didn't create that word. That word was used by the far lefties who jacked it from the black community.
Yep, and here's the thing though, man. Here's the thing. That doesn't matter. Because you just said the right are the ones that beat it into the ground to mean everything that they don't like. The right are the ones that did it. You said that. You just said those words. So whatever the left was doing with it before, which was generally, as far as I can tell, was using it in the same context that black people used it for 100 years prior to that, which was, being aware of, racism, systemic racism, particularly generational systems of racism. So like wherever it started is fucking irrelevant.
All the right did was take that word and turn it on its head. Both sides do this, and both sides use.
Wait! All the right did was turn it on its head. That's all the right did, dude. The right has essentially the right has turned that into the new SJW, the new PC. You already defined it. It's literally anything the right doesn't like. Anything.
How is that in any way synonymous with turned it on its head?
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, I bet you're not going to watch this video on stream or watch it in another video, are you? You're probably going to ignore this. Probably wise.
Little in-group catchphrases, so neither side is in any position to bitch about it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But bitch, he shall.
There's definitions for fan, right, and fandom, right? Probably
wait.
How
he's talking about us bitching about the word woke, which we haven't even brought up yet, at all. He just brought up and talked about how we are bitching about it. It's like.
He said he's probably talking about the word woke, and then he says, and then he sets this part up saying to go on to bitch about it. Do we? I don't think we do.
I don't remember, but woke. The term woke is a meaningless fucking term. Like you just admitted, just some guy. You just admit it's a meaningless term for just right don't like, and it's worthless to critical analysis, which is something we criticize very heavily.
And look,
but we haven't even brought up in this video. You're responding to like shit that we haven't even said yet. Just
and another thing is like the way that he's looking, it seems to be like he falls back in this position of, well, the left has some shitty things and says some stupid things, and so that means they can't criticize the right. The right shouldn't criticize the left. It's all a wash, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like, what kind of fucking cop out, spineless, weaselly bullshit is that? No, man. Like. It's really just that's a cop out. It doesn't help in any way, shape, or form to it's not conducive to productive conversation. I think of it overlaps with that somewhat, but generally I just consider my fandom, my personal fandom, to be my personal connection to a thing, and like how it's influenced me, how I've related to it, how it's God dang, stop bitching, fired
Yeah,
me or
Jesus.
comforted me or give me escape or whatever. And then like fandom, the proper term fandom, which is about a community.
Jesus Christ. It's really simple, dude. Do you like it a lot? Then you're a fan. There's no personal fandom. We don't need to turn this into some born-again revival. If you like something enough to follow it.
What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Can you fucking engage with like fucking any nuance whatsoever, or only whenever you're trying to fucking misrepresent someone's positions are you able to do that? When did I say anything about any kind of religious experience or anything like that? People, human beings, have subjective experiences. We have our particular perspectives. You and I may like the same thing and like it for very different reasons. Fucking complete bullshit, man. Complete fucking bullshit, garbage, lazy ass fucking thought terminating cliche, half thought motherfucking bullshit language you're using.
Okay. No, I right now it's like just very interesting. So like he was criticizing us earlier for like essentially not defining things clearly, even though we stated that that was our goal. And now we're getting to the point where we're defining things clearly. And he's like, oh, how dare you get too detailed into it? What's wrong with you? It's like,
and that's not even very detailed. That's literally just like the broad look at how I see it, how I see my fandom, and then the two versions of fandom, right? And wow, man, you are really desperate to fucking paint us in a negative light. Kind of telling.
Or engage in it. You're a fan.
You know, and I take that pretty literally, especially now that we have like the Discord that we're trying to build a community there. I think about what would a community be like if I was literally building a community like of homes in you know IRL, so to speak, and how do we make sure that we protected each other and looked out for each other and stuff like that. So that's how I see a fandom, you know, is and what I hope it could be. Like people have said to me before, oh, actual fandom, you think you're the only way to do fandom? It's like it's not about me. I'm not describing myself with my channel. I'm describing like a kind of an aspiration, an ideal that I'd like to aspire to for like everybody.
Right. That would naturally happen once like-minded people began associating with each other. I'm trying to be nice because later he says he's on the spectrum, and I don't want to seem like I'm picking on him for not getting the obvious.
Yeah, I'm on the spectrum, but like you are the one that's really fucking struggling here, man. Like
they like to bring up stuff like that, and it's the whole point is to trivialize people to their fans. Being on the spectrum at the end of the day doesn't mean fucking anything. It's just kind of like something noteworthy. It's like being white. It's just a factoid essentially. But he knows primarily his audience will look at that and be like, oh, that means he's less than, right?
Right.
And it's
when
it's a bullshit tactic. And
the fact is here, I was going to save this for the end, but look, we'll do it now. You called us fake fans. You know, I don't want to speak for Bob, but for myself, if you would like to get onto a stream sometime and figure out some way that we can do like a quiz or like a trivia thing and see, you know, who knows what about, let's say, comic books or movies. I just kind of have a feeling that I would run circles around you, dude. I have a feeling that
comfortably do a movie quiz against you.
You know, so you can talk shit and bring up the fact that I'm on the spectrum and kind of like I assume you're implying to your audience that like, well, I'm kind of retarded or some shit, right? So we can test it. You know, hey, you might come out looking fucking awesome, right? Or you might use the fact that I'm on the spectrum to kind of go, no, I don't want to debate him or be in a trivia with him because he's on the spectrum or whatever. The reason you made this video is because you sense your fucking time is coming to an end, you know, and also because you don't have any friends or you have fewer friends among the group of fucking shitheads that, you know, you did have friends amongst. Because, and I was actually going to appeal to your reasonable side here. Now, fuck it, I don't care anymore. But like the fact that you do understand that being against the Don't Say Gay bill, and I saw the tweets where you said this, does not mean that you're a groomer or whatever, which you're right. It doesn't mean that. The fact that you understand that nuance, that you could apply that in other ways, and you would end up in more or less the same positions that we have. But you're not, because you are algorithmically, financially incentivized to keep the fucking blinders on. You're incentivized to come up with bad faith arguments against us like you've done this entire time. We're not even a few minutes into this, man. You've already misrepresented us several times. You've literally lied about what we're saying in the video you're showing to your audience.
It's not an ideal, dude. It's just what happens when people group together. Humans are tribalistic, and we love forming groups. Give us a topic, and we'll make a group out of it.
Yeah. Yes, dude. And I'm talking about doing that ethically, responsibly, mindfully, with consideration for the people around us, and not just like fucking group together and then fucking whatever happens, because that's when you get fucking bullshit like the kind of people that, you know, are calling you a fucking groomer, man, which we're not going to do. But people are calling you that. I've seen it a lot. Yeah, I did like a 30-minute kind of cursory search of who you are. I saw it a lot. Yeah.
Some people concoct theories about a character's identity status, sex life, race, or religion, and then demand that every other fan agree with their theories, or they'll accuse the naysayers of being bigots.
What the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, this is the most broad, vague, just like throwing a fucking dart and hoping it hits some.
So,
what?
Yeah. So, fun fact: if you look at the new Turtles movie and are pissed that April is black, a character who has nothing in her character to define whether or not she's white or black. If you're just yelling about that, yeah, that's kind of fucking racist, and you're kind of showing. If you're yelling about Ariel being black, without watching the movie, without judging the fact that, listen, it's not a great movie, but Halle Bailey was fucking phenomenal in it. She knocked it out of the goddamn park. If you're bitching just because she's black, yeah, that's kind of fucking racist. I don't know what else to call it. When you're just yelling because somebody's black, what do you call that? You know,
I don't know if it was this, because this was a month ago. I guess it could have been that. I don't know. Like, it seems like
he does go into that, so that might be part of it. Yeah.
It seems like what he's doing is he's seen some stuff on Twitter, people, and because look, man, you go on Twitter, you're gonna see dumb takes, even things that I generally agree with. You'll see people representing those things very, very poorly and being pretty cringe about it. And if you go looking for those, you're going to find them. Simple as that. You know, you have to account for that. If you're not, then you're not. You're kind of like, yeah, you're doing it wrong. But like, so did you see somebody, like one or two people saying or something like, oh, if you don't think this, then you're a bigot or whatever? If you saw that, okay, that's pretty stupid. I think that's stupid. I don't agree with it. Right. But then you're kind of transposing that just to like broadly use as a defense against specific things that we're saying in our video. Really bad faith, man. Really bad faith, disingenuous, fucking low effort, fucking low T, you know? It's fucking bitch move. I'll just say it.
Or how some people demand that well-established characters be altered to suit these people's particular political perspectives and lived experiences. Are you talking about that?
No, I'm not, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm going to need examples cited. Like, I don't recall there being any demand. Like, let's look at April O'Neil or Ariel. Like, two examples I just brought up. I don't recall any demand for people saying they have to be black. The studio did it, and it's fine. Especially in the case of Halle Bailey. I haven't seen the new Turtles movie. It's getting rave reviews, so they probably did a good job there. I've seen Little Mermaid. I didn't like it, but, like, Halle Bailey was phenomenal in it. I have zero complaints about her casting. She nailed Ariel.
That's what I hear. It's kind of curious. Like, I kind of want to go back through this at some point and like just like take stock of all the tactics he's using here, where he's like, oh, get really dismissive after I tell them to be specific. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're being too specific now. You know, like
I mean, it's primarily EFAP fans. Everybody loves to call me bad faith. Bad faith. Shit like this is bad faith. Yeah. Shit like this video. This is like this is the definition of bad faith right here.
But I guess the question is he doing it on purpose or not? I don't know. You know, I don't think the guy's stupid.
I suspect he is, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's stupid.
I do suspect. I think there's more nuances to his stuff, but yeah, I think this is pretty much a bad faith assessment on him.
Being as charitable as possible, I will say that he might not realize he's doing it just because he's been making this content so long. You know what I mean? That like basically he doesn't know how to engage in any other way besides like think of the simplest way that I can fucking shut them down, kind of thing, even if it doesn't make any sense.
I have a feeling you think all of that's perfectly fine.
No, I literally don't, man. Oh, okay, here we go. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, what did I say? What did I say?
Yeah.
Having not watched your video before, that you probably saw something on Twitter, and then you're taking that and applying that broadly. Wow.
Well, this
Just
is
watch this
a
happen
tweet
with the
that we
spider.
engaged with heavily. We engaged with this tweet quite a bit. Listen, in the movie, do they firmly establish that Gwen Stacy is trans? Absolutely not. Do they do obvious things to transcode her? Is her story kind of a trans allegory? Like, look at the colors on her hair that just happen to be shining on there. Those are artistic choices. Like, is she stated to be trans? No. But is there trans coding going on here? Abso-fucking-lutely.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not. That's not even worried about it. Like, if it is, it is. The thing is that are you really you feel that insecure about your relationship to this movie? I assume you liked it, and then you see this, and this upsets you somehow. You feel like someone is forcing you to change the way that you see the movie. Is that what he's saying? Because man, grow a fucking spine, grow a fucking sense of resolve around yourself. Because if this kind of thing upsets you, where like a trans person is like, hey, I see something in that I'm going to claim that's what I see in it, and they left that there for me, and maybe they did, probably they did, I don't know, but like they literally left it as an you can see it or not. But if someone else is seeing it that way, and you're seeing that as a threat to how you feel about it, man, wow, low T, bitch move.
How we watch movies, it's different for everybody. It can have to do with lots of things. It could be as simple as your personal mood. If you watch this movie and you don't see the trans stuff, because it's not blatantly there, it's never firmly stated. There's nothing wrong with that. But some trans people who are a community, an underclass community that is shit on a lot, watch it and get that coding and feel kind of comforted by the character Gwen Stacy. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that, and how does that affect your relationship to the movie where you didn't get that?
I don't get it, man. I really don't. In fact, to be more succinct here,
I don't understand it.
Had to do it to him. Like, this is not saying that like, this is literally some random person on Twitter, and I bet if I looked up this account, they probably have like 300 followers or something like that. I don't know.
It's a fairly I think I follow her.
Oh, okay. Well, she does look kind of cute, so I would imagine that might be that happens. Cute people get followed a lot. It has nothing to do with you, man. And this is not anything that happens outside of the experience of you watching the movie. If that affects you, you're just doing it wrong, dude. Like, you can, it's possible to consider something that someone else had, like this is their connection to a movie, and go, oh, that's interesting that you see that. Okay. And then move on with your date. Like, it's fucking weird to get hung up on it.
Yeah. I would like, there are ways to have bad reads on movies.
Sure.
But it's tough. But like, pretty much if you have a read off a movie that has no evidence within the movie to back up, that's a bad read. But if there's evidence to back it up, like the trans read of Gwen, then that's a valid read. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I mean, and even if it is a bad read, how does that affect what you think about it? Why does that become the thing that you reach for to defend against someone criticizing the kind of content you make? Right? Because really that just comes off like,
I have small dick energy.
So we'll finish this off, see what he says.
Reverse felt. With these people injecting in their fringe politics, claiming Spider-Gwen is trans because of the color.
Fringe politics.
Yeah.
So
being trans is a fringe politic now?
Okay.
I just thought it was a fact.
Just some guy. You apparently believe yourself to be like a liberal centrist type, left-leaning ish, whatever. You're not. man. Like, even if you on some issues do align more with the left, that's fine. It's good, I guess. Better than none. But if you see trans people existing and their representation because they are humans who exist in societies, and therefore, as Marvel Comics, you probably know this. You're probably a Marvel Comics aficionado like myself. So you probably know that Stan Lee always said that Marvel is the world outside your window. It's supposed to represent the world that exists, just with like some superheroes in it, right? Trans people exist. Trans people should exist in Marvel Comics and in media about Marvel Comics. And being against that is being against kind of what made Marvel Comics distinct in a lot of ways. It's weird, man. It's weird. You are literally taking the position of right wingers in so many instances here. Not even 6 minutes in, and you've done it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you know
it's interesting.
And I wonder if you know that. Do you know that, or are you just like, you fully know it and you're just like, I don't care, I'm going to keep calling myself a centrist or whatever, classical liberal or whatever? That's, retarded fucking. Yeah, man, it's bullshit. I would reevaluate yourself if you're really calling yourself like a liberal or whatever, because even liberals are, generally just like, let trans people exist.
Yeah.
And they're not getting super upset.
Are too.
The Libertarian Party thinks that all this fucking anti-trans stuff, the Libertarian Party actually is on board with you when it came to don't say gay, because they think those types of laws are bullshit and they infringe on people's rights and stuff like that. It's weird to hold you exist in this weird fucking spot of like, don't say gay. That whole bill is bad. It's stupid. Don't do it. They did it. But, that those types of bills are bad laws. But also, it's fringe politics and also, on another level, once again, this person's take doesn't affect the actual movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't affect how you feel about it.
No, if you like this movie, sure. And I do think it's strange, like whether or not Gwen happens to be trans or not affects your enjoyment of the movie. That's a weird take. She's still the exact same character and the exact same person. So I don't know why that would affect your viewing of it. But again, this is not something that's explicitly said in the movie. It's a read.
God damn it. Mika, I'm not even going to highlight that, but no, man, please just stop speaking on trans issues, dude. Like, you don't know what you're saying. You're just saying the shit you just said is actually fucking garbage and not good. Up there about the entertainment. One starts with the word entertainment. Please stop about the trans issues, dude. Fuck, it's stupid.
Colors of her costume, a trans flag on a wall, and one on her father's jacket. And when people refused to go along with it, out came the toxic possessiveness, with these far lefties literally laying claim to the character and just ignoring that Gwen's color scheme is just a pastel version of Spider-Man's blue and red design. Listen to the language these people use when
Okay. Toxic possessiveness, because you seem to pick up on that phrase that I said there. A person can say whatever the fuck they want about anything, even if it does strike me as like, that's a fucking stupid take or whatever, if they're not saying it directly to me or about me, right? Or about people who, generally I like. If a trans person existing in a movie is fringe politics and therefore something that shouldn't be there to you in your mind or whatever, even though, it kind of is a Schrodinger's trans politics in this example. What you're saying by having that position is that trans people shouldn't be represented. It's as simple as that, man. Mm-hmm. And I know you're a black dude. I don't know. I can't fucking pretend to be in the position of a person of color, whether they are pro representation or anti representation. I just know that I've heard from a lot of people of color about it, talked to a lot of people of color about it. I've, and being someone who has, like you had noticed, I'm on the spectrum, so I do understand the wanting to see a perspective in a movie that kind of like is like, oh, that's me in a way, just like in the broad strokes, right? I feel you feel seen, you feel validated and whatnot. Like, okay, let's say this: you're a black dude, right? What if there was just no black people in movies? And like every movie you went to go see, Not a single one ever. Do you think that might bother you a little bit after a while? You know, the toxic possessiveness is creating this YouTube culture where most of the videos that you're going to find on any given fandom type thing is going to be regurgitating these generalized, bullshit misrepresentations of media. People starting to say that something is woke a year before it comes out, not even giving it a chance.
Maybe I don't know if it's in your definition, but maybe we should do a little amendment to the anti-fan definition, and also add the fact that anti-fans pretend to be fans. They pretend to be fans, but yet they somehow always shit on it.
Character gets race swapped. This is my Spider-Man. This is my Starfire. This is my Jimmy Olsen. This is my Ariel. That's exactly the type of behavior you claim you don't like, and yet this is the very argument you and the other three amigos make all the time.
No, it isn't. Oh, all the time, huh?
Yeah. No, that's interesting. All the time. So you watch us? Are you, dude? Just some guy? Make sure to like and subscribe to our videos, man.
Be sure to sub, bro.
Already on. Yeah. Hit that bell icon to get new notifications for new videos, man.
Support the channel on Patreon. Get some cool perks and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not, man. Like I'm sure he notices that he is getting very, very vague whenever he starts to turn he's laying out a bad faith position, essentially, or kind of just a really dumb understanding of things, and then he tries to turn that around on us, and it's very, very vague. And he's just like, "You guys are doing that all the time. What are we doing? Are we saying that this is mine? This is my version of things? Point to a fucking single time that any one of us has ever said that. Point to one. There have been plenty of times whenever, because look, I'm a white dude, like a lot of the guys that make this kind of content, the anti-fan content, who complain about race swapped characters, right? There's been characters that I've known historically, traditionally as white that have, now they're like Little Mermaid. I was a big fan of the Disney movie when I was a kid. I didn't give a single shit that she was black, man. Like, it's weird to me to give a shit.
Here's what's really striking me about Just Some Guy upon rewatching this video. It almost strikes me that maybe he knows he's full of shit, but he feels the need to attack people who aptly are pointing out that his arguments are full of shit. Just to feel like maybe he's doing all right, or maybe just to get some more views. I'm not sure. I do know making videos about us, lots of people have done it. Can't cover them all, but lots of people have done it. Maybe he just wants to jump on that bandwagon because he's not sure about his position on a lot of this stuff. There's been obviously a couple of positions where he's felt the need to stand out a bit more, to differentiate himself from the other fandomists or anti-fans or whatever you want to call them. And maybe he knows he needs to separate from that. But he also knows that's where his money, that's where his income comes from. So he ends up in this weird middle ground. I mean, he just admitted he essentially watches our content. He watched it, who knows how often, but he watched it enough to apparently know our views and position and misrepresent them. So that's interesting.
Don't you ever get tired of being liars? I'm not going to entertain an argument on this front. You are liars. I don't care about you. If you want to tell me you're not a liar, that's just you lying about being a liar.
Two things on what the point he was just making. If you want to call it a point. That because some people want to identify certain things, more representation in something, like that somehow makes it okay for other people to have toxic possessiveness. Even if you see it, even if you see that what they're doing is being toxic and possessive. And I don't necessarily think that's always the case. Usually, generally know that it can be expressed that way, sure. But even if I grant you that that's what it is, right? Okay, it's all toxic possessiveness, but wanting to representation. Is your mentality really such that when someone is doing something shitty, that gives you the okay to do the shitty thing too? Is that how you fucking act in all areas of your life? Because that's really childish, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really just low T, bitch move. Like if somebody's driving drunk, oh well, he's driving drunk, so I might as well drive drunk too. You know, it's a disingenuous bullshit, because I know you don't really think that, but yeah, you're being bad faith, man. Another thing on my channel, if there's 3 things that I can say that my content has pushed as the message the entire time, it's 1, anti-fascism, 2, trauma recovery, 3, let everyone's engagement with fandom and this IP and this media be whatever they want it to be, as long as it doesn't infringe on your ability to do the same thing. It's the libertarian principle, right? Those are the, like, to say that we have demanded something is bullshit. And to say that by some people wanting to have representation in the media, whether it's Spider-Gwen, who literally what they're saying, oh, I see her as being trans in this movie, it doesn't have any effect on anything in the movie whatsoever, but they see it that way, and you think that is somehow negating your experience? God damn, dude. I would hate to be that, just like, I don't know, emotionally fragile, psychologically unstable, to where, you know what I mean? Yeah, well, let's get to your part, I guess, because I'm just going to keep finding ways to just absolutely dismantle this guy's dumb shit here.
Yeah, no, it's a little redundant, but we'll get to it.
Limits because the critics aren't the target audience. It doesn't sound like you have a problem with any of this behavior. It just sounds like you don't like it when it's done by someone who doesn't agree with your policy.
No, it doesn't sound like that at all, because like none of what you're saying fucking applies to anything here, man. What do you...
Politics. So then Bob jumps in with this incredibly self-unaware insight.
Oh, well, now that he's completely taken me to task, I'm sure he's going to really get after you.
Yeah.
What I noticed was
my take is going to be just wildly out there. I'm going to say some stuff crazy. I'm going to say only left-wingers should critique media. They are the only real critics. No one else should ever talk about it.
It's true, yeah. It's accurate, yeah.
So essentially, you know, I noticed people were essentially calling stuff bad before they've seen it, just because maybe a trailer's come out or there's been some casting calls saying, "Oh, it's bad," and then, you know, making litanies of content bashing it before they've even seen it.
That's called marketing, dumbass. The point of trailers and ads and promo interviews is to literally get people to decide to watch the show, read the book, or play the game.
Okay, so I feel it's self-explanatory. You're allowed to bash the trailer. It's when you're calling the actual like movie or whatever the media is advertising for bad without actually watching it. That's not good.
And
you're
also,
allowed to say that it's bad advertising and I'm not going to watch it because of that. Sure.
If these guys just shit on the thing whenever the trailer came out or whatever, casting, whatever, they're like, this is going to be terrible or whatever, and then they didn't watch it and talk about it anymore, you didn't ever hear me complain.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens, is it? Just some guy. That's not what happens. Let's look at your channel again, buddy. Look, how many times did you cover this fucking Lord of the Rings show that you had, you know, you think was terrible, it's going to suck? I'm sure you talked about it sucking long before it ever came out. Am I wrong? I'm just taking a guess. It's, oh, dumbest woman ever. Like, goddamn, dude, that's like several ass videos in a row on this show that you don't like, right?
Well, I mean, one thing that's worth noting is I think I even did a video where I covered one of these guys, and I even pointed out that I don't think Rings of Power looks very good. It was before I saw it, I was like, I don't think it looks very good. But you know what happened later? I watched it, and then I thought it was pretty good. See the difference?
Just like right here, there's this run of these, just the most obvious chud content that like every one of them, basically they signed a blood pact that they have to cover these and say this specific stuff about them. But no, I was going to count how many in a row he did here. You got, let's see. Oh, nope. Rings of Power. 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 Come on, dude. No wonder you're fucking threatened by our videos. No wonder you're threatened by the shit we're saying, because you know that's who you are. You know you are doing the thing that we're criticizing. You know what? Good on you for the Conroy video. Fucking no notes. Unless you used it to say something like, unless you were like, well, this Kevin Conroy was from a time before things were bad and political and trans people suck and stuff. Then no, I don't.
People don't like what they see. Are they not allowed to say it looks bad? Are you honestly claiming that you've never watched?
They're allowed to say it looks bad. They're just not allowed to say it is bad without watching it.
He's literally responding before you finish your sentence, dude.
Trailer, seen a promo, or heard an interview about a film, show, game, or book and thought, wow, that looks like that's gonna suck. It's the strangest art.
So there have been criticisms of ad campaigns before. There have been criticisms of ad. Fuck. Do we remember when that Tom Cruise Mummy movie came out and they released that ad? And that was a technical error, but yeah, they fucked up the audio on that ad, and it was kind of just gold. I loved that ad just for all the wrong reasons. But like, you can criticize trailers without criticizing the end product. You can say, hey, this trailer was so bad it makes me not interested, I'm not going to watch it. And then you don't watch it. That's fine. But that's different than watching a trailer and saying, oh, this sucks because there's a woman in it. Totally different.
Let me ask this. How many times has just some guy or any of his buddies or people that used to be his buddies before they decided to call him a groomer for disagreeing with him? Very reasonable disagreement. How many times have they watched the marketing or heard about the marketing or heard of casting or whatever and be like, it's going to be terrible. This fucking ruined. They're destroying it. And then the thing come out and then they watch it and they go, oh shit, actually, this is really good. This is not what I thought at all. How many times has that happened? Because I think that's kind of telling.
I think I can only think of one time off the top of my head, but it was an opportunistic moment. It was fucking House of the Dragon. And they did it because they could play it off of Rings of Power.
They kind of somewhat a little bit with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Mario.
Actually, you know what? They're doing it more recently because the stuff's coming out and people are liking it. And they can't be yelling, go woke, go broke when the stuff that they've already decried as woke makes a whole bunch of fucking money. I mean,
True.
I'm actually noticing that happening more and more this year. It's interesting. It's telling about their possible future.
It's just like I just wonder what's going on in these people's lives, man. That like they would rather spend they spend so much time on shit they don't like, and it's like, you know, I'm not. That's why they call us shills, because we don't constantly talk about things we don't like. We do talk about things we don't like though, but just like constantly doing it, man. Like, are you okay? Are you like, you made like 9 Rings of Power videos in a row, dude. Are you okay? Like, and I'm not, you know, I kind of mean that snarkily, but I also kind of mean that sincerely, because I can't understand what would, you know, I don't know, man. If you love Lord of the Rings and you feel that show sucked and betrays it or whatever the fuck for whatever reason, okay. Do you know how many times there's been some adaptation of something that I've liked that betrayed what I felt was good about it or whatever? Like, there's been bad Batman movies, there's been bad X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Goddamn, X-Men Origins Wolverine, literally like my favorite comic book character in that movie is fucking atrocious. Did I like fixate on it? Well, maybe for a couple of days or something, but like still.
Yeah.
And I'll still kind of rant sometimes about like when he pops his claws in the bathroom for the first time after he gets the adamantium.
God.
And they're like cartoons.
How does that look so much worse than it looked 7 years earlier?
10 years prior to that, they looked great. They look great.
Oh my God.
All right. Tangent, but still.
That was bad.
I'm over it. I'm not going to make videos about it. I didn't make videos about it then. If it came out and they did another Wolverine movie that was really terrible, I might make one video just being like, this is fucking disappointing, dude. But then I would move on. I'd move on. Actually, you know what? I know somebody that has some really good advice on that type of thing. We can kind of see what he's got to say. What is that about?
In Marvel.
Literally 4 years later, and I'm willing to bet if we go back to 2018, 2019, you got quite a few Captain Marvel videos, don't you, dude? I bet you do. You know you do. Because that was that easy money, like Rings of Power.
So you're on the channel there. Go ahead and type in Brie Larson.
Okay, let's do it. Yep.
That's usually why I like to a good metric to judge a lot of these guys. You're just gonna get a whole bunch of just let's shit on Captain Marvel. And you can tell, like when they're just spitting out videos talking about Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, you can just tell. These aren't people to be taken.
Oh,
seriously.
look at this right here, this video, because I've actually read that arc. you know what? Did you do a follow-up video? Because yeah, whenever it first started, that run, that kind of arc happened where she's like got this weird power thing going on. She's going around kicking the asses of every single Avenger. She's like taking them out, just bodying these Avengers, right? Did you follow up on that with the revelation that happened a few issues? I don't remember how long they held it out or whatever, but like basically she was doing it because it was the best thing to do. Some convoluted comic book plot type of thing that like if she didn't do this, that it would have been much worse for her, or something like that. And she also, while she was kicking their asses, she was setting up, I think it might have been maybe Black Panther, that she was setting up the kind of basically somebody was controlling her and telling her that she had to do this. And if she did anything to, deviate from this path of like taking out all the Avengers or whatever, that they would do something much worse. I forget what exactly it was. And so she had to do it. But at the same time, she was, I think it was Black Panther, maybe I'm wrong, coordinating a strategy in the background so that they could, at the right moment, take this dude out. The real bad guy. And she was not actually a villain. Did you follow up on that and explain that to your audience? Or did you just let them believe that, because it's convenient for you to shit on Captain Marvel for the algorithm and because Brie Larson, right? By the way, interesting that this is about the comic book and it came up whenever I typed in Brie Larson.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Did Brie Larson have to write that comic book? Yeah.
No. Welcome to the fumble. Weird. You saw it? Did you get to see it early, buddy? How'd you do that?
Yeah. Did you get an early screening? That's interesting.
Is this actually him making a good take about the mouse ban? But yeah, man, if you really aren't on the right, and I don't think you are, I think that you kind of just are mistaken in a lot of the things that you're saying and the narratives that you're pushing. You think that you have centrist views, kind of like more middle of the road views, and you don't. You just don't. You need to get outside of the information silo you're in, because you are essentially acting as a useful idiot, a tool for the right. Shills its way to $1 billion. Oh, okay.
Marvel Comics, no diversity for you, and the famous milkshake picture, I'm sure.
Well, that actually reminds me that I noticed this one video not even that long ago. Look at that.
Oh my God.
Stuck in a moment.
Can't let it go. Talk about being stuck in a moment.
The irony is, and we know that he kind of does this a lot, I guess, that like he's saying that it's CBR that's saying they're stuck in a moment. Maybe I'm sure CBR had some article about like, oh, it's been, so who knows what they did. Maybe they did do a little grifting on it. CBR kind of cringe sometimes.
Yeah.
But are you going to act like you don't know full well that the entirety of Comicsgate has like built all of its mountain of shit on this moment?
Goddamn tweet that was just benign as fuck.
Good on him. We actually gave him more views than he's been getting lately.
Hey, good.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he does cover this. We'll see.